Hey friends, Shay here. So today we're going to talk about all of the manga series that I've completed this year. We're going to do a tier ranking style. We're at the midpoint of the year, so obviously I will be finishing more. But let's go ahead and cut over to the tier list, Shay, and I will see you guys at the end. Okay, friends, so here we are at the tier list that I've created for this video. So these are the 24, I believe, series and standalones that I've completed so far this year. I am very excited to kind of tell you my thoughts on these. One is a series I could only find digitally, and then one is like a webtoon series. So there is a little bit of variation here. It's not strictly manga, but these are things that I've read and completed and want to share with you. So let's go ahead and start with Cutie and the Beast. Cutie and the Beast, I feel like I'm going to set it in liked and keeping for the moment. This is a shoujo age gap with a pro wrestler and a girl who's just about to graduate high school. Nothing happens till she's 20. It's a 4-volume series, and the most they do on page is kiss. So for now, I think it lives in liked and keeping. Well, I think we're actually going to go solid recommendation, because if you're looking for a short, cute shoujo, then I would recommend it for that. You just have to know that it's an age gap, but it's handled very appropriately. Like, her parents are looped in very early on the situation, so it's not like they're being shady and doing things behind people's backs. Like, they're very clear and out in the open about it. She is technically 18, just hasn't graduated high school at the beginning of the series. Or like her birthday happens really fast. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've read that first volume, but I really liked how it ended. I really liked how everything was handled. And yes, everything was good there. Something's Wrong with Us, new favorite. And I have a very noisy kitten today. Something's Wrong with Us. I've been a champion of Something's Wrong with Us for a very, very long time. It is a new favorite for me. I don't know if it lands in my top 10. It might. It would knock out My Dear Agent if that's the case. But either way, I really love Something's Wrong with Us. It is the perfect amount of messy and bonkers for me. Like, it's just unrealistic enough, but realistic enough that you're just like, this could really happen. I'm so glad it's not my life, but this could really happen. Duke of Death and His Maid, solid recommendation. It is like the only truly ecchi series I've thoroughly enjoyed. This is a 16-volume series where the Duke is called the Duke of Death because he's cursed when he's young and he's not able to touch even flowers without them dying. So he's sequestered to his family estate. You see him when he's older, and he has this new maid that's similar in age to him. They're actually childhood friends, and she's obsessed with him. And she does everything in her power to kind of flirt with him and make sure he knows that she's interested. And so, yes, it's very cute. It's got that sexual, slightly pervy nature to it, but I still love it. Let's talk about Vampire in the Bathhouse. This is a liked and keeping for me. So this is a really cute series. I read it just this last month, and I talked about it in my Maid manga log. So if you want more details, you can head over there for that. But again, I really liked the art. It's fun. I would revisit it, which is why it's liked and keeping. So Call the Name of the Night, solid recommendation. If you love things like Witch Hat Atelier, you're really going to love Call the Name of the Night. This is a very sweet series. It's only 5 volumes. So if you took like No Country for Humans and Witch Hat Atelier and kind of mixed them together, that's going to be more kind of the vibe, because this girl essentially is calling like the night magic out of her. And this is about her going to her teacher, learning how to control it, making friends. It's very sweet. I really, really like it. Next, I have Uso Toki Rhetoric. Love it. Love Uso Toki Rhetoric. It's a new favorite. This is a crime noir 1920s style shoujo in which we have a girl who can hear lies, and she makes friends with this guy who's a detective, and it ends up being their romance. It's 10 volumes. I was thoroughly satisfied by the end. I could have taken a couple more volumes and some more mysteries, of course, but I absolutely love it. Catch These Hand, Catch These Hands is a liked and leaving. I've talked about this pretty publicly now on my Instagram, but I feel like the series was canceled, and so it ends very abruptly. It's very slice of life. You're just kind of watching these two in a relationship for so long. Then all of a sudden it's just like over. And I'm like, that happened a little too fast for me. So I liked it. I'm not mad at it, but it's not going to stay in my collection. So that's the route we're going there. Next here I have Catman. The title on it's a little bit cut off. So with Catman, this is a series all about consent, really, because cats are the ultimate, like, consent beings. So essentially, this is a world where cats are humanoid, and it's normalized for people to just come up and pet cats. But our main cat here doesn't like pets, doesn't like to be touched. And so it's all about consent and how people feel differently about it. All right, so the next one I have here is Too Close to Love. I'm putting it in liked and leaving because this is a one-shot that I sat in the bookstore and read, and I ended up opting to not pick it up. It was nice, and I'm glad I've read it. Yeah, it's one of those things where I enjoyed it the once, but I don't think I'd revisit it. So for some reason, I have Something's Wrong with This on here twice. Like, clearly I wanted to make sure it was on the list. So the next one I have here is I Married My Female Friend, one of my new favorite Yuris. Yes, the setup of this doesn't exactly work for everybody, and I will honor that and respect that. But it's one of those things where I really, really, really thoroughly enjoyed this series. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think it talks about how you can go from friends to more in a very realistic way. So I really appreciate it for all of that. The next one I have here is Last Quarter. And I'm putting this in liked and leaving. So I'm learning more and more that I'm not sure Aizawa is the mangaka for me. I know, blasphemy. I understand. But when it comes to Last Quarter, I feel like this series ended up being something very different than I thought I was walking into and wanting. So it's one of those things where I think it's me, not the mangaka. It's still good. I really liked it. But it's not one of those things I would revisit. It's just crazy enough and just unrealistic enough that I don't think I can get behind it. Sinner in the Deep Sea, I'm going to put in liked and keeping. This is a mermaid manga that turns out very differently than you think it will. Obviously, it's taboo to be friends with humans. And yeah. Like, that's kind of all I can say about it. It's very Little Mermaid coded, with the red hair and everything. Joe is a lot stronger than Ariel ever was, though, so I'll give Joe that. That's the redheaded mermaid here. But it's one of those things where, I don't know, maybe take it or leave it, kind of, for some people, but I really enjoyed it. Emma, new favorite. Kaoru Mori does no wrong for me. This is the same mangaka who does A Bride's Story. I love Emma. I love this historical fiction romance situation going on here. I have zero regrets. I read the entire series in a day in the month of April. I have a vlog about it, so I'll leave that linked in the corner if you want more details. But yes, Emma's a new favorite. Absolutely love. Lethal Dose of Love, I think, is liked and leaving. This is a kind of toxic situation going on where this main guy on the cover here has very toxic feelings about himself. And it's very intense. I liked it. But the way that it all went down is not something I think I'd revisit just because it is on the intense side. So we're going to set that one to the side. And say that it's liked but leaving. Love's in Sight. Solid recommendation. This is a 8-volume series of a guy who looks like a delinquent because he has a scar on his face and a basically blind girl. She has a little bit of sight, so she's basically blind. Falling in love, and they're in high school. And it's so sweet and so cute, and I really, really love it. And I really love all of the representation of things going on there. So, again, highly recommend. Zero regrets. She Princess in Wolf's Clothing, new favorite. I love this series. I think it's adorable. It is so, so good. And yes, It is... there were people out there when this was first coming out saying it's non-con. It is definitely not non-con. If you understand Japanese culture, it is not non-con. And if you read a lot of romance, it's not non-con. So when I say non-con, if you're not familiar with the term, it is consent, non-consent, essentially, or not consent. But really what's going on here is they want it to happen, but they worry about the propriety. So they say things like no. But also culturally in Japan, you're not supposed to openly want or talk about sexual things just culturally. So that's kind of what's happening there, more so than true non-con. If you've read real non-con in romance, you're going to be like, what? Why are people calling this non-con? Just like I did. So, yes. This is Hannah and the Beast Man. This is the one that I read digitally. Where am I going to put you? I'm going to put it on solid recommendation for now. So this is the same mangaka that does With You Our Love Will Make It Through. This is essentially the prequel series on how our guy wolf in that series came to be, you could say. And he is the product of a beastman and a human. And so this is kind of their love story and how they meet. It is very, very steamy. So be prepared for that if you go into this. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had the best time. But I also am just that way. So, yes. Lord Hades' Ruthless Marriage, I think, is a liked and leaving. So I really enjoyed this series. I liked the take on the Hades and Persephone myth that was being told here. But I think ultimately where I land with it is I've read better and I'd rather read Lore Olympus and have Lore Olympus on my shelves. So as much as I liked it, I do think it's going to leave. Next I have Hoteri Hotet First Kiss. This is a liked and keeping. So when I did my first volume 1 video of the year, if you haven't seen it, I'll leave it linked in the corner. That's where some of this, especially, no, I think this is the only one from that list, I think. Oh, there's one more we'll talk about in a minute. And I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it, but then I sat on it for a couple of days, and as I was editing, I'm like, yes, I am going to keep it, because I do see myself revisiting it. So I really enjoyed myself with that one and would highly recommend it. It's a short story collection about a bunch of first kisses. It's really, really cute. Next here is a webtoon that I read, and that's Love Gym. And this is a solid recommendation. This is a boys' love where a chubby guy comes across a personal trainer and he has a crush on him, and the personal trainer agrees that if he does really well and takes care of himself for a year, he'll go on a date with him. But obviously they catch feelings over the course of that year, and they start dating, and they start exploring whether they can really be together or not. There are some other outside factors that I don't want to spoil, but I really, really love it. So again, solid recommendation. If you're looking for something to just read, I highly recommend it. I believe I read it on Webtoon. I can't remember if it's Webtoon or Tapas. I'll leave it linked down below for you either way. Next one is One More Step, Come Stand By My Side. That's a do not recommend for me. So the one story I was interested in ended so abruptly that I was just upset at that point. And this collection of stories is just not for me. I appreciated all of the art. The art was absolutely fantastic. And that's why I bought it in the first place. But the actual stories themselves, the only one I was invested in, like, it never came back around. I thought maybe it would cycle around, and because it does feature the person on the cover. But yeah, I was just upset at that point and angry. So next here, let's do Beautiful Things, because that is also a do not recommend. So this is a story about a man who cross-dresses and about how he basically catfishes his coworker, and it is all sorts of like icky. I was upset. And ends so abruptly, like once they kind of figure it out and work through it and spend some time apart, that I was just upset at that point. I know there's another part, but it hasn't ever gotten licensed in English, and they say that this is complete. So if that's where it actually ends, I am upset. Like, period, end of story. Like, it's not okay. And so I would not recommend this series at this point. And I just was so upset. So that is why it is a do not recommend. There are very few manga series that truly make me upset. I read this entire thing and I was so upset by the end. Like I read it in the bookstore and I did not purchase it. Like I was just so upset. Upsetty spaghetti J. All right. And then the Concierge at Hokioku department store is in solid recommendation for me. This is one that I can easily and highly recommend to everybody. This is a slice of life about a woman who works as a concierge at the Hokioku department store and about all of the people and creatures that she interacts with and takes care of and all those kinds of things. It is so, so good. I absolutely love it. It is a 2-volume series, so it's not a long investment, but this is an award-winning series. And when you read it, you can understand why. Basically, you're following this character, this concierge, for a year. And you see what happens in the department store throughout that time. Next, obviously, What's Wrong with Secretary Kim is going in new favorite. I have a whole video dedicated just to What's Wrong with Secretary Kim, so I'll leave that linked for you. And then Delinquent Daddy and Tender Teacher is the last one here. And that is also a new favorite BL of mine. I think it's very sweet. I like that they're childhood friends who get reacquainted after spending some time apart. The blonde has always had a crush on the guy with the dark hair, but the guy with the dark hair just kind of was oblivious to all of it. And I really appreciated how they came around to being in a relationship and about how he easily accepts the son of the guy with the dark hair and all those kinds of things. Like, it's a 6-volume, really sweet BL. It does have some steamy parts to it, yes. So if you're wanting something completely like pure as the driven snow, this is not the series for that. But I highly recommend the series anyway. So with that said, let's cut back to outro Shay. Okay, friends, so that's how I'm feeling about all of the series that I've read this year. I feel really good about where they landed on the list. And I am really interested to hear your thoughts. So let me know what series you've completed down below and where you would put them on your list, because I'm always looking for new recommendations. So if you have any for me, let me know down below. If you're here just because you love me, go ahead and leave me a sunshine emoji, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.